First off, before I begin, this video will have spoilers for all 5 Stormlight books, particularly Wind and Truth. So if you aren't caught up, I recommend doing so before continuing. Alright, I just finished reading Wind and Truth and wanted to propose a theory, perhaps the most hated theory, and that is Chanadin. Yes, I am referring to a relationship between Kaladin and Chanaranach, recently confirmed to be Shallan's mother. I'm not sure why the first thing I think of after finding out Kaladin becomes a herald is a potential love interest with Shallan's mother, but here we are. At least hear me out, because the theory is not outside the realm of possibility. Now, the Stormlight fandom has long been coming up with different pairings for our main hero Kaladin Stormblessed, with the 2 most popular being Shallan and Celadan. So let's get into the theory itself. Now keep in mind that according to the text and what Brandon has already revealed, 10 plus years will pass on Roshar, while in the Herald's pocket universe in the spiritual realm, only a matter of months will have passed. Picture this: Book 6 of the Stormlight Archive, Kaladin, Herald of Second Chances, returns to Roshar, reunites with Shallan,
By the way, Shallan, I met this girl. Her name is Chanarach Heralded.
Please tell me you are not banging my mother?
Your mother? Of course not. You don't mean Chanarach is... I mean, she's a storming herald Shallan.
Come on, Cal. We can have a therapy session later. I want to play in the water. My own daughter killed me, Cal. Just a little girl. Sent me back to that place. And I broke. I caused all of this.
You know what? I think it's possible I could be... you know, with your mother.
How could you not have pieced it together, Kaladin? I mean, the entire fandom figured it out as soon as they saw we both had red hair.
Trana then shows up behind Kaladin, wrapping her arms around his waist and kissing him on the cheek. Then noticing the presence of her daughter, she quickly removes herself. Shallan, I didn't realize. Allow me to introduce my boyfriend. Shallan interrupts. I know who he is, Trana. Gritting her teeth, Shallan asks her mother, can we speak in private? Jokes aside, obviously the scene would have to play out differently to be taken seriously. Then again, Brandon interjected a lot of ill-timed humor into Wind and Truth, so you never know. And now it falls to me to justify this unlikely yet completely possible Chanadin theory. Alright, so in order to back my theory with some hard supporting evidence, I think it's best we go over the 2 most well-known previous Kaladin pairings. The first, which at one time seemed likely, was the Shallan theory. This theory obviously proposed that Kaladin and Shallan would end up together. Shallan was popular back in the Words of Radiance days because of the 2's natural chemistry. I remember on my own reading thinking they were guaranteed endgame, especially after the chasm scene. When he finished, they both let the silence settle on them and shared warmth. Together they stared out at the rushing water just out of reach and lit by flashing. I killed my father, Shallan whispered. Kaladin looked toward her. In a flash of light, he saw her eyes as she looked up from where her head had been resting against his chest. Beads of water on her eyelashes. With his hands around her waist, hers around him, it was as close as he'd held a woman since Terra. Now obviously this theory seems to have been proven false because Shallan seems very happy with Adolin, and in Wind and Truth it's all but confirmed that Shallan is pregnant with his child. She's also seemingly trapped in Shadesmar, so that could make for a very unpleasant pregnancy. But I think it's safe to assume that by the time Kaladin returns, she will have made her way back to the physical realm, so I believe the only way Shallan and Kaladin could end up together would be from the unfortunate demise of Adolin, and if Shallan afterwards becomes a herald as well. Both of these things seem unlikely, so the major takeaways here that aid in the Chanadin theory is that Kaladin could have a thing for redheads. He was already attracted to Shallan, so it seems natural he would also be attracted to her mother, who probably still looks the same age as current Shallan, so I would imagine after the time jump, Trana will actually look younger than Shallan. Since Kaladin is immortal now, it would make the most sense for his love interest to also be immortal. Which brings us to the other and most likely theory, especially after Wind and Truth, the Celadan theory. This pairing between Kaladin and his friend Sylphrina used to get a lot more hate. Most likely because when the 2 first bonded, Syl would take on the appearance of a young girl acting immature. As the series has progressed, she has slowly begun adopting more of a distinct personality, acting more and more human-like, even mimicking societal standards such as covering her safe hand and appearing as a full-sized woman. Most of the groundwork for this couple theory has been laid out in Wind and Truth, with Syl making vaguely sexual, lighthearted jokes toward Kaladin. But I'd say it's their adorable dance scene that does most of the heavy lifting for this theory. I remember this, Kaladin thought, from my childhood. I remember moving and the wind joining me. I remember peace and freedom. He danced through it, and Syl danced with him, both riding the eddies of the wind, and if he'd ever known a perfect moment in his life, crystallized joy, like light made into something you could hold, this was it. Worries abandoned, no, worries battered away. Worries refused, and that at the edge of the world, in the advent of the end of all things, Kaladin Stormblessed allowed himself to be happy. For what felt like the first time since Tian's death. He came to the end of the dance, dipping low, holding Syl as a spear, then a woman, then as pure light. So, the Syladin theory is definitely the most likely as of now. Plus, both are immortal and bonded to one another, so a love interest between the two does make sense. Although Brandon Sanderson seems to be a fan of the Halo video game franchise, and I always kind of thought that Kaladin and Syl are somewhat inspired by this duo, being Cortana and Master Chief, with both females being blue and intrinsically tied to their male counterparts. Yet Brandon has also said that he wasn't a huge fan of the direction the later Halo games went in furthering this love interest.
Part of the whole Halo thing, and I know the later movies or later games mess this up. Part of the whole Halo thing is like, these are working professionals who have a really great relationship and they work together, and that's great. We like that. Halo doesn't need romance. Halo has zombies.
So this makes me wonder if he would really commit to going that route with his own duo, especially because I actually found the romantic chemistry more apparent in the Halo trilogy than in Stormlight.
But so much of me is wrong. Out of place. You might be too late.
You know me. When I make a promise.
You keep it. I do know how to pick 'em.
Lucky me.
So on top of Kaladin's likely physical attraction to Chanaranach, in their shared immortality, there are a few more things that could push them together. The pocket universe they will be residing in is supposed to be the opposite of Braves, so instead of seemingly endless torture, it will be peaceful. Something Kaladin hasn't really had the luxury of indulging in forever, really. I picture the pocket universe being kind of like an extended anime beach episode. So what better time for Kaladin to pursue companionship than when all the heralds are running around in their bathing suits? He will be trapped there with limited options and a lot of one-on-one time with Chana as well as the other heralds, presumably helping them with their madness like he did with Ashar. I would imagine, given Chana's past though, that she may need a little extra therapy. Obviously, mentioning this theory, I am half joking because I'm not sure if Brandon would really want Kaladin to get with Shallan's mother. But at the same time, I have nothing to lose, so I'm fully committed to this theory and honestly think it does kind of make sense. If you truly hate this theory, at the very least, it may help push you toward getting on board with the Syladin theory, making it a win-win scenario. What do you think about this potential shipping? Is this the most hated Stormlight 6 theory? Let me know in the comment section below. For more Cosmere Invested and other science fiction fantasy related content, consider subscribing to the channel. Until next time.